Hey, my name is Christian Elder, and this is my video log for Library 100. I attended the workshop for the power of privilege, and I learned a lot about people at the university and um, the power of privilege. When I selected this, I read the caption where it talks about how there's a discrepancy between social groups and their access to resources. And when I went in, I didn't really know what to expect or how they would handle teaching this to us. Honestly, I really thought it was going to be more of a slideshow presentation. Um, they did say that we were going to discuss the existence of different social identities and talk about how those affect people's lives and other people's lives. Um, but I just really, I guess, was expecting more of them showing us PowerPoint like they did for the alcohol awareness. Um, when I arrived there, there were a lot of active voices. People really opened up and talked about how their past affected them and what it is in their life and what's important to them that affects their day-to-day decisions. Some people mentioned that their ethnicity is actually very high on their list, and they really value their cultural background, and that is really forward in their mind because they come from a minority, and it is something that they feel they're reminded of every day. I, on the other hand, don't feel that that was one of the things that governs my decision making. Um, More so, I think that my decision making is based on um, my religious views and things like that. Upon talking to more people and hearing what other people said, I realized that my finances probably affect my amount of privilege more than I thought it might. Um, I am a junior in college. It's my fifth year in college, and I'm paying for everything by myself. Um, my parents don't pay for my tuition or my books or rent or anything. There have been times that I've worked 3 jobs and gone to school full time just to make bills, and it was really a struggle. I've always been surrounded by people who their parents paid for everything, so I kind of felt like that was the normal. When I went to this dialogue with the other students, there were a significant number of students who came from the same situation I did, and they were working very hard to um, maintain their grades and pay all of their bills at the same time. Um, of course, there were more reserved voices. I think that that's always going to happen when there is a dialogue setting because some people just aren't as comfortable talking in public as others. However, those people who were reserved in their speaking did participate to an extent, and when they did speak, it was valuable information, and it did contribute to the dialogue. Um, I know that some people said that they actually came from the opposite situation that I come from, and that is their parents paid for everything, and they grew up in a neighborhood where everybody around them got everything that they wanted, and they've never had to worry about shopping money or any type of money at all. And it was really a shock to them to see how many people were working for finances on their own and didn't have the support of their parents in that area. Um, I think that a role that I played in the group is that I think I had a little different perspective because I am a lot older than the people that were in the group. Being that I was a transfer student and needed to take this because it's a university requirement, um, I'm 24 years old, and a lot of them were around 18. So I think that I was able to um, give some perspective on the importance of where you spend your time and what it is that um, certain privileges really do have an effect on, and others really don't even matter. For an example, one thing that I kind of really had a problem with is we played a game called Privileged, and what they did was they had us all stand in a horizontal line facing the same wall, and we were to look at the ground and listen to different scenarios. And some scenarios were negative and some were positive. If the negative scenario applied to you, you took one step back, and if the positive scenario applied to you, you took one step forward. At the end of the game, you were to look around and see where you were in relation to the other people in the room, how far forward you had moved, and how far backward you had moved. And where you stood in the line was supposed to represent how privileged you are. Um, After doing this game, or I guess it was being used as a tool, a visual tool, but after they did this, they had us all sit down and then question people on how they felt. And they singled out people who were in the very back of the room, and in other words, they never got to step forward. And they asked them how they felt and if them standing in the back of the room made them feel less privileged than the people, say, who step forward every time. And then they did the same for the people in the front of the room. This, I think, really made people uncomfortable, and I do see where they were trying to go with it. However, when one of the, actually there were two students who were pretty far in the back of the room. One was a guy from another country, and the other was a guy who has worked very hard to get to where he is in college, and he's paying for everything by himself. Um, they felt that their words were that they already knew where they came from when they started college, so it didn't really affect them. But I could tell by their tone that it did upset them to be singled out like that in front of everybody else. Um, I feel like the way that I was able to bring the perspective is I kind of answered the question for them, and I said that it most certainly did make people feel less privileged or more privileged, because that was the point of the game. The game is called Privileged, and if the point of the game is called Privilege, then certainly that is the outcome that they're hoping for. But I did tell them that no matter where you stood in line, the point is that we're all in the same room right now, and we're on a level playing field. I think a better way to approach that game or visual aid would be to have people do tally marks on a piece of paper, and the same effect can be used and the same results can occur without people being singled out or having to stand there as a representation of less privileged, when in fact that is counterintuitive to what the entire program was about, which is to teach people that they are equally available for the opportunities that Clemson offers. Um, all in all, I really thank you guys for this opportunity. It opened my eyes to a lot, and I realized that I wasn't alone in working and going to school. It also helped me understand the perspective of other people, and I think that that's really important. Thank you for your time. Bye.